Hey guys, it's Timmy, and this is Wrestling Unlimited. As it's Friday, and that means right now it's Friday morning, and this is the Wrestling Wrap-Up. A handful of news brought to you in one easy-to-watch video. I'm going to change some things up on my rundown. I had my rundown set a certain, we go breaking news first. We go the breaking news first. I'm changing my rundown here a little bit, so let me reorganize this. I usually bookend the shows with the two big stories. I'm just going to start it off with the two big stories. So let's reorganize some of this right quick. I mean, we're doing this on the fly because there was just breaking news with WWE and Smackdown. This gets deleted now. That I need a link for. We already got that open. Yeah, you guys are seeing me work on the fly. All right, let's move this. I'm all kinds of out of sorts now. We're readjusting. We were going to do a big AEW block early in the show, but now we're switching it all up and doing WWE early in the show. Move that there. Let's move. What do we got here? Let's move these here. We'll do the AEW block at the end. Let's move this to here. Let's reorganize. You're seeing me work on the fly, guys. So I gotta renumber everything for, that's 4, 5. We do have a total of 6, 7, 8 stories. Nope. Yes, it's 8, but this needs to go here. Now that it's that way, reorganize this again. 6, 7. We're good. We've got 8 stories to talk about as far as today's show does go. We've got changes being made, big changes being made to tonight's Friday Night Smackdown. We're going to talk about the releases that we found out about yesterday within WWE, Nxt Europe, SummerSlam next year, and so much more. I mean, we're even going to talk dissension, drama, frustration within All Elite Wrestling. But with that, I want to say thank you if you are watching live, twitch.tv/PW Unlimited. I also want to say thank you if you're watching later, youtube.com/Pro Wrestling Unlimited, or Twitter, or not Twitter. I'm still in that mood. Or, hold on, I'm getting like a bunch of messages about the SmackDown Toxic Attraction thing. So give me 1 second. All right. I want to say thank you if you are watching live, twitch.tv/PW Unlimited, or if you're watching or listening later, youtube.com/Pro Wrestling Unlimited, or podcast services all around the globe like Stitcher, Spotify, Google Pod, Apple, Anchor, iHeartRadio, and so much more. Also, I do want to say if you're watching live, you can help us out a couple of different ways. You can either help us out by hitting that donate button down below, or by donating Twitch bits in the live chat. Also, remember, you can help us out by subscribing to the channel, one of 2 different ways. You can either subscribe with a tiered subscription, or you can subscribe with Amazon Prime. Because remember, if you have Amazon Prime, then you have Prime Gaming. Prime Gaming gives you a lot of cool things like free games, free stuff for games, and they always give you 1 free subscription to any Twitch channel you want to subscribe to throughout the month. And I greatly appreciate it if you did right here. Pro Wrestling Unlimited. Also, remember, it doesn't just have to be your Amazon Prime account. It can be anybody's Amazon Prime account, whether that's your mother, your father, your brother, your sister, your grandma, your grandpa, your auntie, your uncle, your sister-in-law's mom, your sister-in-law's mom's sister, anybody. It can be anybody's Amazon Prime account. Also, remember, if you're watching on YouTube, you can help us out over there by hitting that join button below to become a channel member. As a channel member, you get early access to news, early access to podcast episodes, early access to non-news videos, and so much more. Also, remember, you can get all that, but more directly support us by heading over to patreon.com/PW Unlimited. And finally, head over to the Epic Game Store. Whether you're buying a new game, buying an old game, claiming a free game, or getting bucks for Rocket League, Fall Guys, Fortnite, or now Rumbleverse, you can support us by using code PW Unlimited at checkout. You say, hey, what's Rumbleverse? Well, it's when you take the mechanics of Fortnite as a battle royale, and you lump that in with professional wrestling, you then have Rumbleverse. Rumbleverse basically takes a group of 20 people or 21, depending on how the game is set up. Some games I've seen 20, some games I've played with 21, and they launch you into the city. You crash down on a building or on the street floor, and then you start wrestling. You start wrestling to knock out your opponents, and the last one standing, or last ones if you're doing duos, are victorious again. It's all the BR stylings of Fortnite and Warzone as far as throwing people in, circle shrinking, but with professional wrestling. Yeah, you've got moves like the pile driver. You've got moves like the power bomb. You've even got a super kick in this game. It's very fun, and it has Epic Store integration, where if you buy any dollars to unlock things for your character, you can put in the creator code PW Unlimited. Remember, use code PW Unlimited at checkout for all Epic Game Store and Epic Games purchases. All right. So we've got some changes as far as tonight's SmackDown does go. Story number uno. Story number one. And I'm just going to pull up the tweet. Shawn Michaels actually made this announcement, but I can't play his video on the stream. So I'm just going to pull up the tweet right here. WWE has made a big change to, I want to say, tonight's SmackDown as it pertains to the Women's Tag Team Title Tournament. Let's flip screens over here. Breaking. As announced by Shawn Michaels, Toxic Attractions Gigi Dolan and Jacy Jayne will battle Natalya and Sonya Deville in the Women's Tag Team Title Tournament tonight on SmackDown. Also, kudos, it's the 1200th episode of SmackDown. This is something that we heard was possible yesterday. I got word yesterday that Jacy Jayne and Gigi Dolan may be traveling to SmackDown. They may be in Canada. And I tweeted it out. I said, Toxic Attraction to Canada or to SmackDown, question mark? And they are. They're in Montreal, where SmackDown is tonight, because, well, they needed to replace Zoe Stark and Nikita Lyons in the Women's Tag Title Tournament. Now, we don't know all the details on why this change was actually made, but we do know from Mike Johnson of PW Insider that Nikita Lyons not at SmackDown. Nikita Lyons is not at Friday Night SmackDown, as we're going to pull up Mike Johnson's report right here. I just had it, and now I don't. Johnson did report. PW Insider has confirmed that former WWE NXT Women's Tag Team Champions Toxic Attraction, Jacy Jayne and Gigi Dolan, are indeed in Montreal for tonight's SmackDown. PW Insiders also told that Nikita Lyons is not at today's tapings as originally scheduled. So the current plan is, of course, as we now know, because this was reported about an hour before WWE did, Toxic Attraction versus Natty and Sonya. Now, I've been told two different things as to why this match was changed, and so because I have nothing concrete, I'm not going to say what I was told. I mean, you guys can maybe guess one of them, but because I don't have anything concrete, I'm not going off of the two things I was told as far as why this match was changed and why it's no longer Zoe Stark and Nikita Lyons. But tonight, Gigi Dolan, Jacy Jayne, making their main roster debut. Now, I think Gigi Dolan as Priscilla Kelly may have worked a main roster match before as a extra. I'm going to look that up. I want to say, maybe not. Maybe I was thinking differently. But regardless, this match is taking place tonight. It's the first round match in the tournament. It's the final first round match of the tournament. And I'm a little interested to see who actually walks out victorious, because as we look at the actual brackets here, so it is Natty and Sonya versus Jacy and Gigi. The winner of that match will then move on to take on Raquel and Aaliyah for a spot in the finals. And I mean, I can see them going with the NXT team. I don't think the NXT team wins the whole thing, Heck, we don't know when the finals are, though. That's the interesting part. Wait. Nope. That's not. No. Okay. WWE it said something about September 3rd, but it's not September 3rd. So, honestly, I think maybe this ends up in the finals, Io and Dakota against Toxic Attraction. I'm going to go right there. I'm going to say Io and Dakota versus Toxic Attraction. There's my finals. And it's not a Clash at the Castle. We know that for sure. But maybe it's the Raw after Clash at the Castle. But regardless, Toxic Attraction, Gigi Dolan, JC Jane making their debut tonight on SmackDown in the Tag Team Title Tournament. Very, very cool. As we move forward, as we have a story number 2. WWE yesterday announced the formation next year of NXT Europe. WWE actually sent out a thing on their website, I guess you can say. Oh, I'm going to pull that up. For some reason, none of my links want to work right, so I have to manually go to where I know I need to go. Here we go. So WWE announced 2 things yesterday, NXT Europe and NXT Worlds Collide. As far as NXT Europe does go, they stated, WWE announced today the NXT brand will grow internationally with the creation of an all-new NXT Europe, with a launch planned for 2023. Following the success of our live events and talent identification efforts throughout all of Europe, we believe that this is the perfect time to expand NXT beyond the UK, said Shawn Michaels, WWE Vice President of Talent Development Creative. Let's give Shawn a round of applause for a second. Getting that damn new title. I mean, I don't know how long he's been in that role, but we haven't heard him called that ever. Again, Shawn Michaels, WWE Vice President of Talent Development Creative. Launched in 2016, NXT UK has received critical acclaim and developed WWE main rosters such as Rhea Ripley, Doudrop, Gunther, and Butch. NXT Europe will reimagine the brand and its talent pipeline past with a pan-European focus. WWE would also announce NXT Worlds Collide. Prior to the debut of NXT Europe, Worlds Collide, a premium live event featuring NXT and NXT UK superstars, will be presented live on Sunday, September 4th at 4 p.m. Eastern. Now remember that Eastern time. On Peacock in the United States and the WWE Network everywhere else. Now that's critical to remember. 4 p.m. Eastern time. Because for me, all WWE shows start at 4 Pacific with the pre-show and then the main card. Well, sometimes the pre-show's a little earlier depending on the show, but regardless. If this show starts, the main card, 4 p.m. Eastern, and it goes maybe 3 hours, then it'll end right when All Out's about to start. So we shouldn't have any overlap if you're trying to watch both shows like myself. I still don't know how I'm going to review both, if I'm going to do a joint review or if I'm going to do one day and the one the next more. I don't know how I'm going to do that. I'll probably just do a joint review. We'll figure it out. We'll see how it goes. I'll ask people for advice. But September 4th, 4 p.m. Eastern, Worlds Collide. If we remember the last Worlds Collide show, it was NXT regular talent against NXT UK talent. Also, when advertising Worlds Collide, WWE kept stating NXT. Not NXT 2.0, but NXT. And also, why is my link dead? This is not good. Nothing wants to freaking work right now. We can go here and then here and then. Nope. Hold on. Let's see. WWE. Nope, that's not it either. So, again, WWE. Wait. Yeah, so WWE will be running a Worlds Collide show, and they'll be ending NXT UK. Now, as of right now, NXT UK has a number of shows filmed in the can, but they have nothing as far as tapings for the rest of the year. I think they maybe have like a couple of months, but they don't have enough for the rest of the year, I don't believe. So we'll see what happens there. The rumor is that to fill out the rest of the year and contractually put content on BT Sports in the UK, they'll just air episodes of NXT Level Up, which I mean is kind of like, I don't know. But Slam Wrestling was told by WWE, quote, NXT UK will end in its current form and serve as the foundation for a bigger, better NXT Europe. As we move forward, got all this with NXT UK and NXT Europe and this and that. And story number 3, well, has to do with a bunch of people being released by WWE. We do have a total of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21. I believe it's actually 22. 22 people that have been officially released by WWE. We go down the list, and it is, unfortunately, a male. Mark Andrews, Zaya Brookside, Eddie Dennis, Saxton Huxley, Amir Jordan, Danny Luna, Dave Mastiff, Amelia McKenzie, who's actually Millie McKenzie, Primate, Nina Samuels, Shaw Samuels, Sid Scala, who I saw a lot of people happy about that one, Trent Seven, Ashton Smith, Jack Stars, T-Bone, T-O Man, Flash Morgan Webster, Wild Boar, Kenny Williams. And I'm like sitting here going, okay, if they're going to do NXT Europe and they're going to need wrestlers for that brand, that whatever it's going to be, why are you releasing half of your NXT UK roster? Because if we go to WWE's website and we look at who is still listed for WWE UK, I'm going to pull that up here on the screen. We can go here. We can go NXT UK. Here's who's still listed as part of NXT UK in their roster. A-Kid, who is now Axiom on NXT, so that needs to be changed. Ali James, Andy Shepard. Oh, wait. Okay, here we go. We got to load it all up. I'm going to butcher this name. Aofi Valkyrie. Blair Davenport, who we saw debut this week on NXT. Charlie Dempsey. Ilya Dragunov. Isla Dawn. Ginny. Joe Coffey, who was on this week's NXT. Johnny Saint. Joseph Connors. Mark Coffey, who was on NXT. The NXT UK Women's Champion. Miko Satomura. Nigel McGuinness. Noam Dar. Oliver Carter. Rampage Brown. Rohan Raja is still listed here, but he sent out one of those "thank you for your time, I think I've been released" tweets. Stevie Turner, Tyler Bate, who showed up this week in NXT, and Wolfgang, who also showed up this week in NXT. That leaves only, as far as active wrestlers, 1, 2, well, actually, not even 1, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 17. If we don't take away who showed up on NXT this week. So that's 17 different wrestlers and 20 to 22 that were actually let go. So, cool. I mean, not cool, but cool in the sense of, okay, cool, these people are still on the roster. Half of them are now moving over to NXT. Maybe they'll all move over to regular NXT. And then maybe next year when they start, because here's what I'm thinking. If they're not doing any more NXT UK tapings this year, maybe they said, you know what? Here's who we want to bring to the US, or here's who can come to the US. The rest will be released so they can go get jobs elsewhere. And then when it's time for NXT Europe, we'll see who can come back. We'll see who we can bring back, who would like to remain with the company. That's just my belief in what I think they could be doing here. So WWE's announced like 3 new things for Smackdown. We'll get to that here at the end of the show. Story number 4 has to do with the possible location for next year's SummerSlam. We're going to pull up this tweet by WrestleVotes. It looks like, well, they could be going back. Yes, back. Good old Nashville, Tennessee. WrestleVotes tweets. Source states, WWE was beyond thrilled with how Nashville turned out as the host city for SummerSlam a few weeks back. The city is on the short list to host the event again next year. Decision expected early 2023. Now, Nashville was a great host city for WWE. They did a lot of Be a Star stuff and community rallies. They hosted the Undertaker show at the Wild Horse Saloon, the one-man show. They did the tryouts at the Wild Horse Saloon. Then they had Nissan Stadium hosting actual Smackdown. And so it's like they did a lot within the city of Nashville over, I want to say, a 4-day period, 3-day period maybe, 4-day period. And so I could see why they'd be happy with Nashville the way that they were and maybe possibly going back to it. I, as a fan, go, crap, Nashville again? Come somewhere else, maybe closer west. But thinking about it from WWE standpoint and how well the city was for them, to them, I understand it. I fully understand why they would want to go back to a city that treated them so well. Moving on to story number 5. Has to do with one former WWE superstar, or should I say NXT superstar, who was released last year. Actually, last year back in November, and hasn't popped up anywhere, and now we know why. According to Nixon Newell, the former Tegan Knox in WWE, he was speaking with the Sappening podcast and actually explained that visa issues have kept her from working anywhere in the United States, as she said, quote, basically, because I haven't gotten the visa or green card, I can't wrestle. I keep getting messages, quote, have you retired? No, I just can't. Legally, I can't. I've just been chilling in my house, playing video games. I went to Sad Summerfest a couple weeks ago, which was phenomenal. Just chilling with my dogs and friends. Usual stuff that I can do without working. Now, it's unclear why she hasn't been able to actually get a visa to work in the United States. That was not stated. She didn't give any details on why she's having issues getting the visa. We don't know if, she's gotten denied multiple times or if her paperwork's still being looked at or this and that. But that's unfortunate. Because now the big question is, could she come back to WWE? She had a visa while working with WWE, so could WWE help her with the visa issues and then just bring her back into the company? We've seen, a number of people that were released come back. Dakota Kai, Karrion Kross and Scarlett, Top Dollar, Ashanti the Adonis, B-Fab, Dexter Lumis. So I don't know if maybe WWE trying to bring her back, there still could be a visa issue, or if her coming back to WWE could maybe clear up those visa issues and WWE can take care of it as well. She had no problem getting her visa before when she was under contract with WWE. But before we move forward into story number 6, talk about the sponsor of this video. That is Manscaped. Support for Pro Wrestling Unlimited is brought to you by Manscaped, who is the best in men's below-the-belt grooming. Manscaped offers precision-engineered tools for your family jewels. Manscaped has redesigned the electric trimmer. The Manscaped engineering team spent 18 months perfecting the greatest ball hair trimmer ever created and just released the new and improved Lawnmower 4.0. The third-generation trimmer features a cutting-edge ceramic blade to prevent manscaping accidents. Millions of balls are about to be nick-free thanks to Manscaped's advanced skin-safe technology. Manscaping accidents are finally a thing of the past. When I tell you that this is premium, I mean it's premium. The battery will also last 90 minutes, so you can take a longer shave. No longer do you need to try and rush because you go, I don't got much time, Ow! Nicked myself. No. Yes, you're most likely not going to nick yourself with the Manscaped razor anyways or trimmer, but now you or whoever's helping you take the time needed to properly trim that junk. Also, one of the coolest features is the LED light, which illuminates grooming areas for a closer and more precise trim. They've also upgraded to a 7,000 RPM motor with quiet stroke technology. And well, let's not forget that charging stand. Show off your mower loud and proud with the intelligently designed new rapid charging dock powered by USB. I'll tell you right now, I've had my thing dead and go, oh crap, I need to trim. Pop it on there. Less than 20 minutes later, full charge. Now, if you are listening to me speak right now, well, I've got a deal for you. Get 20% off and free shipping when you use code PWUNlimited at manscaped.com. your balls will thank you. Again, get 20% off and free shipping with code PWU Unlimited at manscaped.com. That's 20% off and free shipping at manscaped.com when you use the code PWU Unlimited. Story number 6 has to do with one, I guess, kind of, but not really, top tag team in AEW. I mean, they're a top act, but they're not a top tag team per se as far as the rankings do go. Getting a contract extension with the company. According to a new report from Fightful, they do report that 2.0 Angelo Parker and Daddy Magic actually signed new deals. All Elite Wrestling. Again, another link that didn't want to go, so let's go to it manually. Fightful has learned that the team of 2.0 have signed contracts extensions. Angelo Parker and Matt Menard, formerly Chase Parker and Matt Lee, joined AEW on August 4th, 2021, before being announced as signing full-time deals on August 19th of the same year. Since then, they have been involved in many major stories and have joined the Jericho Appreciation Society. Menard, known as Daddy Magic, has been doing commentary for AEW while out with an injury, while Cool Hand Angelo Parker has still appeared on AEW television during that time period. The two have received heavy praise from both fans and peers for their work in All Elite Wrestling, and those that we've heard from in the company say that the two have been good to work with within the year-long run. So with that, the two men who were ever rising in NXT, well, a lot of people thought NXT and WWE should have done more with, are now flourishing, I guess you could say, over there in All Elite Wrestling. They're in one of the top groups in the company, in the Jericho Appreciation Society. They've been in some of the biggest angles over the last couple of months, like the stuff with the BCC and Eddie Kingston, being in War Games and all of that. So, what was the other one? What was the one match called at Double or Nothing? Anarchy in the Arena? Anarchy in the Arena. So, I mean, they're in some of the biggest matches that this company's doing, and they're killing it. I think Matt Menard and Angelo Parker are killing it. They're not just, two goofy comedy guys. No, they're more than just two goofy comedy guys, because, yes, they're goofy comedy guys, but in a way that is better than you would ever imagine two goofy comedy guys to do, because they also can be very serious. They've also shown up in the ring. They've also done, freaking Matt Menard injured, I think, his shoulder in War Games early in the match, yet still climbed to the top of the cage so he can get beat in the match. So it's like, come on, these guys are killing it in AEW, and I couldn't be more happy to see that these two have gotten a contract extension and are remaining with the company. Because it's like, yeah, would I like to see them go back to WWE and see what they can do there? Sure. But do I like what they're doing in AEW more than they ever did in WWE? Yes. Yes, yes, yes. And I have more faith in them in AEW than in WWE, especially when they have, the support of guys like Jericho, and they're working with Moxley, and they're working with Claudio, and they're working with Bryan Danielson. And so it's just like all these different things. I think they're going to do well when it comes to them in AEW. Speaking of AEW, did I say War Games, Kid Vicious? I meant Blood and Guts. Speaking of AEW, maybe some drama going on backstage within the company, as Dave Meltzer reiterated all the reports we've heard over the last couple of days as far as issues backstage, drama and frustrations and so forth within the company. So on Wednesday, we had seen CM Punk call out Hangman Page and nothing come of it. Then we learned that was a shoot, brother. CM Punk went into business for himself and called out Hangman Page, all well knowing Hangman probably wouldn't come out, then called him a coward. Well, according to Dave Meltzer in the latest Wrestling Observer newsletter, Meltzer wrote, quote, "A ton of backstage drama, including many of the top guys, has gotten much worse in recent weeks. It felt like a number of people are close to their breaking point if things don't get settled." So we don't know exactly what all of this means, but we have heard recently people frustrated, people upset, people not happy with how Tony Khan is running things. I mean, we've heard that for over a year, that Tony Khan plays favorites, that Tony Khan sometimes acts like, oh yeah, you can come talk to me and this and this and this and this and this, and he'll listen to you and then just do whatever he wants anyways because he's the booker. So it's like a lot of people are frustrated with different things, and Tony Khan and other people in the company, and it's not looking good. It's really not looking good. And it's funny because when this was brought up a couple of weeks ago, Tony Khan and Dustin Rhodes also reiterated, well, it's not like people can just leave. They got contracts they got to work. They got to stay here till their contracts are up. So it's like, you're going to hold people hostage? Now, maybe that's me going a little too far in saying that, but it is very interesting to hear that there is a lot of dissension, a lot of frustration, and a lot of people upset in All Elite Wrestling. Going to hold on. I think I might have another quote here as well. Let's open this really fast. Why is that not wanting to load? Here we go. So, here we go. We got more from the Meltzer quote. This says, there's a part of me, this is Meltzer writing, there's a part of me where I just think Tony needs to sit everyone down and air everything out before it gets worse. The big thing that started all this, that Colt Cabana is not in Dark Order with no angle and stopped being brought to television. He was going to be cut, but Khan re-signed him for ROH. This is really the catalyst of everything, although different people have different stories as to why it happened, including Punk and Paige. But even if that didn't happen, it was probably going to happen for something else, just given the nature of the different personalities involved. It feels like a number of people are close to their breaking point if things don't get settled. So there we go. There's a lot of things that Tony Khan just does with no rhyme or reason, bump, 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 and then people go, well, why'd you do that? And they don't give no explanation, and then they get upset when they're not given the explanation, which totally makes sense, because if Colt Cabana is featured in Dark Order as a prominent member of the group and this and that, and he's on TV every week, and all of a sudden he's just not there, and he's no longer in the group, start to ask, why? And you're not getting answers, you go, oh crap, could this happen to me? Could I be next? But of course, you know, they started Ring of Honor. Well, they bought Ring of Honor, Tony Khan. And so now Colt Cabana is going to be part of that. But then we don't know what's going on with Ring of Honor. Ring of Honor had a pay-per-view. Was Colt Cabana there? I don't know. But was Colt Cabana on the show? I don't remember because I barely watched the show. Was Colt Cabana on the Death Before Dishonor show? I honestly don't remember. So let's look up the results of that show. I actually don't remember if Colt was. He was in the opening pre-show match against Anthony Henry. He did win, but it's like, you're in one of the top groups in the company. You're featured on BTE every week. You're featured on Dynamite every week. Even if you're not having matches, you're going out there with the other members of Dark Order, and then nothing. Nothing. No explanation, no nothing given. So I can see why people are upset about that. Because if you're upset about one person and not getting an explanation on why this happened to them, what's to start in your head going, oh crap, could this happen to me? Could this same thing be happening to me? As far as frustration does go within the company, we know that, well, it seems like Varsity Blondes may be a little frustrated. This past week, they took on the Gun Club in a match that lasted literally 45 seconds. As soon as the match was over and they were able to get to the back, Griff Garrison sent out a tweet just said, frustrated. All it said was, frustrated. Then Brian Pillman Jr. started retweeting people, basically talking the frustration for him. We go to his Twitter right here, Brian Pillman Jr. He tweeted out a number of different tweets. Let's pull that up here on the screen. Here we go. So there's one here. It says, Flying Brian, you should have pushed for an angle with Dustin Rhodes, just like your dad had back in the day. That could give you a nice boost. There's another one. So Brian tweeted out this: nobody is owed or deserved anything in this business. It's earned, bought, and paid for with blood, sweat, tears, and rent is due every day. If you think I haven't been grinding in the dark, then think again. I will become the biggest star in professional wrestling. And other people, retweeted on that. Don't stop Don't sleep on Brian Pillman Jr., but some of the tweets yesterday was like, I feel like the loose cannon needs to be released. Unstoppable, you will be. Keep it up, brother. Another one is, I kind of feel heel persona at Flair's last match. And there's just a number of different tweets of people frustrated for him and him retweeting them. So, yeah. People not happy right now in All Elite Wrestling. That's not good to see. But as far as our final news story does go, we're going to talk about All Out and what's planned for the main event. According to Dave Meltzer in the latest Wrestling Observer newsletter, he says, well, the main event is still planned to be Moxley and Punk. Despite Moxley and Punk fighting for both titles next week on Dynamite, Meltzer writes, quote, currently, the 9/4 All Out pay-per-view has CM Punk versus Jon Moxley for both belts. That is not 100%. This is not announced and not 100%, but is being talked about as the current plan and doesn't appear to be a backup plan. The show, with 2.5 weeks left, has already announced Thunder Rosa versus Toni Storm for the AEW Women's title, Wardlow and FTR in a 6-man tag, which means the TNT title won't be on the line, and a number of other matches. So it's interesting that they're doing this match next week on television, even though it's still the working planned main event for All Out. So now you have to think, well, what the hell are we going to get next week? A double DQ? A double countout? A regular DQ? A regular countout? Like, what's going to happen that necessitates them doing the match again a week and a half later at the pay-per-view? It's very interesting, very odd, and it really feels like Tony throwing shit at the wall to pop a rating. If I'm just going to be 100% completely honest with all of you. It just sounds like Tony Khan throwing stuff at the wall going, I know our ratings need to be better because we're coming up in TV negotiation time, and let's just, this will pop a rating. Or as Shivani said back in the day, that'll put butts in seats. Actually, I sounded more like Eric Bischoff, but anyways, I really think they're doing the match next week just to pop a rating. And I know AEW usually doesn't do shit finishes. There's a good possibility this gets a shit finish. And then we move on to the title match at the pay-per-view. But with that, guys, that's going to wrap up the wrap-up as far as everything we've got news-wise coming to you today. As far as tonight goes, and tonight's Friday Night Smackdown, WWE has announced 4 things for the show. Let's pull that up here. First off, we do know that there will be a face-to-face with Drew McIntyre and Roman Reigns ahead of their big match coming up at Clash of the Castle. Also, we do know, and was that pulled? Uh-oh, something may have been pulled. Okay, this is interesting. WWE's doing a lot of shuffling on their website right now. So, WWE states that the Viking Raiders will pay their respects to the New Day in a Viking funeral. Now, the interesting thing is the post for this is still up on their website, but I'm going to pull this up here. So this is here like this. We've got face-to-face. We've got the Viking funeral. We've got the women's tag title match we talked about. And we have a 5-way #1 contenders match for the IC title. Now, all 4 of these were listed on the preview when you click preview when we went live. Like, I checked this right before we went live, actually after I clicked go live. There were 4 things here on this rundown. Now, there's only 3. You can still click the Viking funeral from here, but you can't get to it from the actual rundown, which is very interesting, which leads me to believe that maybe it's not concrete. But we do know, again, face-to-face, the women's tag title tournament match, Natty and Sonya versus Gigi and JC. 5-way match to determine the next challenger for Gunther in the Intercontinental title is Sami Zayn, Happy Corbin, Sheamus, Madcap Moss, and Ricochet, and then, of course, that Viking funeral. That is everything that has so far been announced for tonight's Friday Night Smackdown. With that, guys, remember, we'll be live following tonight's Friday Night Smackdown, running down that entire show, bringing you all the news from SmackDown, whatever we do learn. If we do hear anything else regarding SmackDown leading up to that show, I'll have it for you right here on Pro Wrestling Unlimited. So with that, guys, Have a great rest of your Friday. Have a great weekend. I'll see you guys next time. Have a good one, guys.